Okay, I'm going to show you real quick how to obfuscate or hide fonts in Silverlight 3. I'm going to use mostly Blend 3, but we do have to use um, Visual Studio a little bit for this, and I'm using Visual Studio 2008. So let's go ahead and create a new project. You can name it, we'll just name this whatever. Okay, so we've got our project here. We'll draw out a test box on here. We'll say testing 1, 2, 3. And so obviously this applies to the non-standard system fonts. Since there's not very many, you're probably going to want to use something a little more interesting. In this case, I'm going to use one called Artony. And let's make that a little bit bigger so we can see what we're working with. Here we go. And so it's not a built-in Silverlight font, so we have to embed it. So I'll go ahead and embed it. It creates that fonts folder with our TrueType font in it. Herein lies the problem and why you are obfuscating your font, because you don't want to be redistributing fonts without a license. Get yourself or your clients in trouble. Okay, so we've got this all set up now, and this is the trick here is you need to create an XPS file, and we can do that by using Word. So I'm going to pull up Microsoft Office Word. I have 2003 installed here. And I'm not sure, you may, if you're using 2003, you may need to download some kind of update that allows you to write XPS files. So here, normally what you would do is type out every single character of the alphabet, uppercase and lowercase, all of the numbers, all of the plus, minus, comma, all that stuff. But at the very least, you need to make sure that you have the characters that you are using. So I'm going to type testing 1, not 2, but 3, just so you can see later how it has left out 2. Okay, so we've got all of that typed out there. You've got your whole alphabet. Now select the font that you're working with here. So you can see there I've changed all of this to the Artony font. In order to create your XPS file, you go to Print. We will print to an XPS writer. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the stage, and it doesn't really matter what you name this file. I'm going to name it nothing. And you're done with Word. Go ahead and close that. Don't really need to save it. I'm going to collapse this so we can see the desktop. And we've got our XPS file here. I'm going to go ahead and rename it to a .zip. Yes, I do want to change it. And we'll go ahead and extract it to here. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. I don't need to extract it to here. Delete that stuff. So we'll go ahead and open our new zip file here and navigate through here. Go to Documents, select whatever's in there, Resources, Fonts. Now here is the meat of what we're working with here. It's created an ODTTF file. So go ahead and extract that out of this zipped folder or zipped file. I'm going to put it on the desktop. Now there's two ways that you can work with this. You can leave it just like it is, or you can create a zipped folder out of it. I'm going to show you both ways, but let's go ahead and create a zipped file from that, and I'm going to rename it Fonts. Alright, so let's go ahead and bring this into Expression Blend. I'm going to drop it over here. Okay, so now you can see we've got our fonts folder. We've got the old TrueType font here. We've got our zip font file folder that we just created. So we're done with that old TTF file. We don't need that. Go ahead and get rid of it. So we've got this all set up here, and let's look at our XAML. Got our text block, and you can see the path to the font family here. So it's looking in the fonts folder inside this fonts zip, and it's finding the Artini font in there. And we didn't need to change this at all. This is what Blend puts in there by default when we're working with the original TrueType font. So I'm going to hit F5 to build and run the application, and you can see that it's displaying the default PUI, Portable Usability Interface font. That's because we need to go into Visual Studio to embed this resource. So I'm going to hit Edit in Visual Studio. We'll say Load Project normally, and navigate over here to the fonts, fonts.zip, and down in the Properties panel, I'm going to set the build action to Resource. So now I'm going to hit F5 again to build and run the app. Hit OK, hit yes. And now you can see there it is. We've got our font. -2, because remember when I was in Word creating the XPS file, I did not type a 2, so we're not getting any fancy 2 action here. So let's go ahead and jump back over into Blend, and we will, yes, reload. Have to open up main page XAML again, go back into split screen view. So there it is, and the reason why I used the, let's go back out to the desktop. The reason why I created this fonts.zip is because you may have more than one font in there. So you could create a whole bunch of ODTTF files and throw them into this fonts.zip folder, so that when you're in Visual Studio or Blend, you can just keep adding them to this folder and keep referencing them the same way, with just having a different, specifying the font name in there. Here's another way that you can do it without the zip folder or zip file. Go back to the desktop, and I'm just going to drag this ODTTF file into our fonts folder. I'm going to copy that name, and I'll replace fonts.zip with that one. And you'll see that when I build it here, it's not going to work. Or it's not going to display the font properly because I have not gone into Visual Studio and set the build action to resource. So now, having done that, we'll go ahead and build and run the application, and you can see there it is, displaying properly. So I'm going to go ahead and close Visual Studio, reload it in Blend, and just show you one more thing here. This is kind of a, I think, kind of a best practices thing, is that we're going to create a relative path instead of using this we're going to create an absolute path instead of this relative path. So we will type in slash the name of the project, which in our case is whatever, and then component slash, and you can see that this is displaying the Artini font, which means that I've typed that in correctly. Go ahead and build this one last time just so you can see what we've got here.